We are not going too deep into this topic because I'm not a Elliott Wave fanatic, but there are some things about waves that you should know and that can help you in your trading, especially regarding to pullback, because pullbacks are waves against the trend, and we have to assess whether that pullback is a change in momentum or whether it's simply a temporary breathing of the market before it continues its course. So wave analysis. The first thing we want to notice is whether a pullback is negating its previous drive. To do that, we simply have to assess how deep is the pullback going and in which angle is the pullback. So that is also why I say that angles on pullbacks are incredibly important, because the lower the angle, the higher the possibility that the trend will continue. So what you see here is an extremely friendly pullback. Could also be qualified as a flag. So if you want to assess this in Fibonacci, for example, we only pulled back roughly 40% of the previous move, and that is perfect. A reason why I'm not a huge fan of Fibonacci's is if we get a 50% pullback or deeper, 61, then often this can already be a full-blown reversal instead of a simple pullback. So the less way we negate of the previous wave, the better. And if the previous wave was like 20 candles and then we get 2 candles against the trend, 2, 3, 4 candles, 2 candles, even better. So this tells us that the trend is still intact and the down pressure is still active. And then in comparison, look at this pullback here. We had this local high here and this local high, and they were both taken out by that pullback. We pulled back more than, we even pulled through all these Fibonacci levels. More than 80% of the previous move was negated by that pullback. It is extremely steep. There are no signs of selling pressure during the pullback. If we get a short signal here, I would never go short on this one. Then the same here, we have 10 down candles, strong ones, 3 up candles, very weak, and then we continue. 4 up candles, stronger, but still okay. This is also something you should realize, that if a pullback comes back into the previous swing structure, that can also be a sign of reversal. Here this, for example, we took out these highs here, and then we made 2 waves to the top, and then we pulled back, and we even took out the low previous to these small up waves. So if we get a long signal here, I would have to have a really strong conviction that the uptrend is not dead yet. And for example, that level here can deliver that conviction, but still it's not perfect. It's not what I want to see in a pullback. Here we have a beautiful pullback, for example, and sometimes if we look at this swing structure here, the pullback preceding the continuation can be quite deep. Here we have 50%, but we didn't even connect to the previous lows. If you retest these, can still be a viable short trade. However, we only connected to these lows here before we continued. And important is that we want to get in on the second wave. We wait for the drive, and then we wait for the continuation. And then sometimes we get a third wave, but after the third wave, we don't really want to get on anymore. So we wait for a drive, we wait for the pullback, and then the second wave is our entry point. And then we wait for one more pullback, and we wait for the third wave. And once that third wave loses momentum, we usually want to look for an exit point, or we pull our stops much closer in order not to give away any of our hard-earned money. 3 waves, and then I'm out. So we have 1 wave here, for example. Suppose we got in here after the breakout, and 1 wave, 2 waves, we ride out this pullback, 3 waves, and then we go into this consolidation. That's when you want to get out. Same here, 1 wave, 2 waves, 3 waves, and then you get out up here, or you pull your stop here. So simply assess the candles, the pullback candles, pullback depth, and number of candles which pointed up versus number of candles which pointed down, and in which wave we are right now, 1, 2, or 3. And that should be plenty enough for you to tell whether the pullback is a healthy one and the trend is going to continue, or whether the trend is already reversing. For example, this one, this was a really deep pullback, and we had the pivot in front. We made this 1, 2, 3 against our trend. So getting in here would not be one of my favorite trades. Alright, that's it about waves. Simply learn how to read wave structure by switching to a line chart. It will be much easier for you to see the major waves. Yeah. And then after a while you will be able to see them on the Heikin-Ashi charts as well. Thanks for your time, and on to the next.